Hey guys, Derek Dimas here. So I've seen lately there's some big kick about people sculpting and all this other stuff inside Blender, and they want to know how to do it. I used Sculptress before, and honestly, you can do anything in Blender that you can do in Sculptress. That's me lighting up my bad habit. Okay. Now, when you're doing that, basically I want to show you the difference between modeling and sculpting. So we're going to do a cup real quick. And I just want you to see time and efficiency here. So, X to delete. Yep, we're going to delete that. I like to use, a lot of people, they'll go over here and choose this, but if you press Shift and A, you can add. Learn the hotkeys. Just learn the hotkeys. Trust me, it'll make things a lot simpler for you. We're going to do this. We're going to make it, and keep in mind we're in object mode. So we're going to go from object mode to edit mode. And we're going to press, everybody's done the cup tutorial, I'm sure. If you haven't, go ahead and give it a try. You're going to press E, press Z to lock it on your Z axis. I'm going to start right there. Then again, E to extrude it. Z on the Z axis, go all the way up to the top. S to scale the top. There we go. And now watch how quickly and efficiently I'm doing this. Press Z as in zebra. I'm hitting 1 and then 5. A to just deselect everything. B right here. E to extrude. Click on it. S to scale it down. Just so you can see here what we're doing. We're kind of closing it in a little bit. E to extrude again. Hit Z for the Z axis. Go like that. S. E one more time. S to scale it down, and then hit Alt and M to merge it at the center. There we go. Now when we did that, we just made this, it's basically like a piece of paper. I'm hitting 5 again on my numerical, it's on the right hand side, keypad. Now that we have this, if you hit Z again, you can go back into 2D mode. You can change it, you can, whatever. From there, what I do is I kind of cheat. I just go right here and I solidify it. And what that does is you can see the edge. And, you can just change the thickness, make it a little bit whatever. Yeah, so that's that. So now we have this cup looking thing, and from there you can just go ahead, and it's a good way to, just start doing things. Heck, you could turn it upside down and make it a lampshade. You can do anything you want with shapes. That's the beauty of Blender. Now, that's modeling. You know what I mean? Oh, Control Z. That's always your friend. A to select everything. But I'm going to hit Tab. Now we're here. We can go in. We're going to add another modifier after that's done. So we selected that. We now made that. And if you hit Z, you can actually see all of the geometry. It's a nifty little trick. I love the solidify. Otherwise, you would have to go up and then do another extrude and extrude it all the way down and then connect it down in here in the middle as well as the bottom. Now that we did that, we're going to add another modifier and we're going to subdivision surface it. And let's hit Z so we can see what we're doing a little bit better. And we're just going to bring up the subdivision surface. Now, when you add the modifier to a subdivision surface on the right-hand side, that definitely takes up a little bit more processing power. But we're going to go ahead, even if we do 4. See, now it's becoming a lot more smooth. Apply that, and then we'll actually hit Tab again. Oops, sorry. Nope. Tab. Go back to object mode. And then we can further smooth it from here. That's underneath your tools, and then smooth. So now it looks even more smooth. And then if you want to add another modifier, you can do that. But that's the basic idea of, this. If you were to make a cup in sculpting, it would take a lot more work. Sculpting's not used for that. But for ha-has, let's make our own, let's make a shape here. So Shift and A, and we're going to go down to, well, to give you a good idea what we're doing, we can do a cylinder, because that's the best thing that you can start off with. You don't want to build up. You want to pretend you have a block of clay. That's how you're going to be using this or thinking of the sculpting thing. It's the same thing as actually sculpting. So, keep in mind too, when you're sculpting things, it's usually faces or things that have a lot of detail. And look at how many vertices we already have in faces. And that's both of these right here. So we got that. Let's go ahead and hit Z so we can see the full, there, see? We can see the full geometry of it. We're in object mode, but we're going to hit tab to go into edit mode. And we're going to subdivide on this side. Now by doing this, it kind of, I guess it's sort of the same from what I was hearing from some people, but other people are telling me, no, if you use this, this is more for the editing. When you use subdivide over here on any of your modifiers, that's more for finished product. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to subdivide it and see how each time we subdivide, it's not just doing the X and the Y, but also the Z lines too. And we can go up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can go all the way up to 10. You can do more if you do it again. But this is quite a bit. Now, rule of thumb when you're modeling with these, start off low poly and then add on as you go. So what we're doing here, there. So we got that. We'll do 4. That gives quite a bit. And just hit A because it's already ready to go. And that's it. It's done. It's automatically saved. The only way you can get out of it is to undo or Control Z. So from there, you can jump right into sculpt mode. Now when you do that, you want to hit Z, and you can see what you're doing. The main one that you're going to be used most of the time is sculpt draw, and here's why. Notice when I'm moving this, watch what's happening. See the opposite side? It's moving literally uniform. It's doing a mirror image. Now this is great for when you're doing faces or things like that, but say you wanted a cup with, you know, this coming out or a handle or whatever. That's gonna cause some problems. So you're just gonna go down to the symmetry and you can take off, it's on the X. The Y, watch what happens when we do the Y. Same thing, all the way around. And then Z obviously is the top and the bottom. So we're gonna do, and you can do all three if you want, but I like to keep it symmetrical. Now, you have add, so that's like adding the block of clay on, okay? And then you have subtract. So we're actually going to subtract this. Now, it's kind of hard to see this, but we're going to take this right here, which is our strength, and we're going to bring this up quite a bit, and we'll do from 35 to 88, and just keep subtracting it all the way down. Notice how nothing's going down? Well, that's because we ran into, let's see here, we'll just do material. We ran into a problem with our shape. And what that is we have our X, Y, and Z, but there's no cross-platform here. So this is where, you know, you can go into edit mode, hit Control and R, and you can try to have things go around the top, but because it is a cylinder, it will never go overlap. You'll never see it. See, you're not seeing any at the bottom. It's just right here, the X and the Z. That's it. That's all that it'll do. So in order to do that, to make a cup, you would have to go and do a whole nother shape. We're going to delete the vertices, just so you know. And the best shape to really work with anytime you're doing modeling is like a clump of clay. If you want to use a box, Shift and add. You can do a cube. Now notice when you do Control R, you can split it as many times as you want. X, Y, and Z. Now instead of doing this like that, and then that like that, and then that other side like that, instead of doing all those blocks like that, that's what the subdivide is for. So with that being said, we're going to add another box again. Object mode, Shift and A, add a cube, and same thing. Go jump into edit mode. I hit tab to jump between the two. And now that we're back into tab, we're going to subdivide it. See how it automatically did it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, keep it around 5. Start off low. And we'll make this box, if you were to use, we'll make this box into a face, or at least try to make it into a face. But let's stick with the cube. Now that we have this here, we're going to jump back into sculpt mode. Hit Z. And see how we can subtract and bring it down to the bottom again. So you can sculpt it out like that. you can add on some, which we're going to have to add some onto the top here. Oh, yep, yeah, I have it. X. So see, same thing. And I'm just kind of sculpting this out a little bit, playing with it. If you click on it, you can focus in one area. Same here. Same here. Same here. Then we can go down, and I like to use the smooth too, so it kind of makes things a little bit more uniform. And now I got to bring these down again. Sculpt, draw, subtract. And we're subtracting all the way down. And it's going to take a little while, so again, you can bring this up. And if you hit Z, sculpt mode. We're going to go back into edit mode, hit Z. Now you can see the geometry once again. So you can see the difference between modeling a cup and then doing this. But we'll go ahead and we'll make this into something real quick, just so you get the basic idea. And I just want to go over the tools real quick. Tab to go back into sculpt mode. Now that we're back into sculpt mode and you have your add and your subtract, you know how the symmetry works with the mirror. You can turn that on and off. Let's keep this on, like I kept saying, a face. So let's do a face. We're going to add on to it, and we're going to bring down. This is where the size of your cursor is. See how it's much smaller now? You're going to want to bring it up. What are we at? 8. So let's make it 20. That's a little bit bigger. We're going to double that. 40. Okay. So that gives us enough right now where we can work with it. And by making a face, yeah, okay, we have this, all right. Do a little mouth thing here. Now again, it's not enough to work with, but it's enough to do our basic shape. We're going to subtract. We're going to bring this down. And I'm going to tear off these right here, over here. Same thing. And just kind of moving right around it. Going up here. Moving around it. And notice how the symmetry is doing the same. It's going around. So this box is now kind of being molded into something completely different. Now this is getting a little bit too heavy for me, so I'm going to bring down the intensity or the strength. And now it's not as bad. So now that we have this, get rid of this. Come on. Go down, boy. Down, boy. Come on. There we go. And, I'm just kind of playing with it, molding out whatever. So let's do this right here. We're going to add, once again, go from sculpt mode to object mode. Edit mode. And we're going to add another subdivision. We need to add a little bit more detail to it. Now keep in mind the number of cuts is not directly proportionate, but close enough to your vertices and your edges, which means more polygons. This is good for right now for what we want to do. So again, just hit A, so everything's done. Hit Tab. We'll go back into sculpt mode. Zoom into this. And now we're subtracting, but I'm going to need the intensity to go up a little bit, or strength. Let's carve out some eyes now. Carving out some eyes. Carving out some eyes. Moving over. That's pretty good. Right here, the mouth. Now I know it looks ridiculous right now, but give it time. We're going to add. And we're going to add the nose. This is what sculpting's for. It's more along the lines of human and things that have detail. If you're gonna, sculpting's good for faces and things like that, hands, what have you. Not so much furniture or anything like that. I mean, I understand if you want to do like a vase or something along those lines that looks abstract, yeah, absolutely you could do sculpting, but I think it would be a lot faster and a lot quicker to go ahead and model it as opposed to sculpting it. Now that we have this here, once again we're still adding. I'm going to get this jowl down here. Here's our chin. Let's get our chin out a little bit. And same thing with the forehead. Let's go ahead and let's take this off and just make it solid. Or not solid, I'm sorry. Material. No, no, where are you? Not rendered. Oh, maybe that is all it. Huh? Well, there's a way to mess with the lights so that the lighting does whatever. So we got that. Here's the head. We'll get this up right here. There we go. Just moving this up, moving it up. And again, smooth it out so it kind of puts everything directly proportionate and you're not having polygons all fall all over each other. And now that we've smoothed this out, keep going, smooth the edges here, the back of the head. So you can see what I'm doing here. This is sculpting. This is how you sculpt into it. There's other things too. I believe there's bubble. I like the bubble one. Blob, that's what it is. That's fun. That's good for doing like rough textures and things like that. But we're adding it. Let's go up, bring it up a little bit more. There we go. Bubble the top of the head here, make him look like he kind of has curly hair. And now that we're moving it, you know, it's kind of coming into order, we're going to have to smooth this down, jump in here. And keep in mind, each one of these brushes has a lot of scrape and peel's good. Or peak. They all have different types of strokes and things that you need, you can have. So there we go. Smooth this out, smoothing the edges. I'm going to bring down the intensity or the strength. I call it intensity because of other programs that I use, and there we go. So now that we got that, we're going to move up here, smooth this out a little bit. There we go. Yep, there we go. Yep, just doing that. So now that we have that, we got our basic shape, how we want to work with. We're going to jump back into edit mode. So now we can see it pretty good. The guy looks, you know, kind of like whatever. We need it a little bit more detailed. So once again, subdivide it again. Number of cuts. We'll do 2. Oh, go into object mode. There we go. So edit mode. And yes, subdivide. We'll do 1, 2, 3. 3 cuts. So jump back into sculpt mode and make it a little bit more smooth here. All right. Object mode. Select this. Now we're going to smooth it out. What this does is it kind of smooths the faces, but you can still jump into it and you can still edit it. With that being said, we're going to jump back into edit mode and let's subdivide it once again. A for all. There we go. Sorry, you had to actually select it. So, 2, that's quite a bit. But if you want to get real detailed, there you go. Hit A again. Now that that's done, and you can actually see the geometry, we're going to jump back into sculpt mode. And again, the last one that you did, so object to sculpt mode, if you hit tab, it goes into edit mode. It always changes to edit mode. But if I'm going to go from edit to sculpt mode, I'm going to choose sculpt mode, and now I'm going to go between edit and sculpt mode. Christ's sakes, Facebook. Alright. So, now that we did that, we got this right here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead, we're going to sculpt and draw it, and let's give it a little more detail and highlights. So here's the face. Here's the bottom lip. Now, I'm not a sculptor, but you guys get the basic idea of what I'm trying to do here. Now, remember how we had the mirror, the mirroring of the image? This is where it really comes in handy, is so you're not doing both sides. But say I wanted to make a scar on the side of this guy's face, you would shut off the mirror image. We'll make this guy look creepy or something, I don't know. We'll make him look like a laughing insane thing. Yeah, okay. Alright, it looks like it's having fun. We'll give it like little devil horn things. Again, if you want to move things along, just be careful, but you can always increase the intensity or the strength. Now, instead of going back and forth, I'm going to change the amount of pixels and just kind of move that right up. And then just smooth it out. Smooth. Bring down this to, 60 something percent. And now that we're smoothing it out, we're going over it. So sculpting is just basically smoothing and indenting and taking out. That's all there really is to it. So now that we did that, kind of touch up on it a little bit. This, I want to go a little bit deeper. So instead of 67, we'll do 57. We'll go down 5/7, 57. Go down by an increment of 10. And of course, we're going to subtract it. Sculpt, draw, subtract, and just take it out. And play around with it too. I mean, sometimes you might think you made a mistake, and you don't have to go back right away. Now, if you're going to make eyes go in there, you're going to want this cavity. You're going to want a cavity here because it's going to be a whole nother object for the eyes. So now that we have that, there we go. Yep, that's good too. Again, we're just subtracting this stuff, getting rid of it, cutting right through like a hot knife through butter. Yes, sir, I like the butter. Nice and smooth. There we go. And go back to smoothing it. Smooth this out. And of course, you know, you want to work on it a little bit. But you guys are basically getting the idea, I'm sure. Go to add, because we're going to add a few things. This guy needs ears. Start adding ears on here. And you can also just jump right into edit mode and smooth it that way too. Or I'm sorry, not edit modes, object mode. And you can smooth it out that way too. Doesn't work nearly as well, but it usually works better when after you subdivide a surface. So, sculpt mode, smooth it. And that's all that it basically is. You want to smooth it so that it's not completely ridiculous. This guy's got like little devil horns. Smooth this out right here. I'm definitely going to take down, well, you know what, let's have this curve down a little bit. So we'll jump back into here and we're going to subtract it. And smooth. So see, now it's really starting to come along. You're going to want some nostrils here. So this is where your pixels are. We'll do 50 instead of 50. We'll do 20. We have it smooth. You know what? Let's try the grab. See how that goes. Oh, okay, that's cool. So you just click it and press in. So I'm still old school. I'm just going to go like this. Subtract it. Let's do that. There we go. Nostrils up in there. And let's make the nose a little bit thicker. So we're going to add. Come down here. Add this. Not bad, not bad. But you're getting, oh, made a mistake. So just press Control Z and it undoes what you need. There you go. So now that we have that, we have a basic idea for a face. Go here, subtract this, carve into that. Same thing. And it's just attention to detail of the little things like this. I always just go over it with smoothing just so that it, there we go. It keeps things a little bit cleaner in your work area. Just clicking, that's it, lightly. Same here, smoothing this out. And like I said, if you want to add a scar or something like that, we'll go ahead and we'll keep the strength of what it is. We'll bring down the pixel to basically 1 pixel. And then we'll go into subtracting it with our sculpt draw. Subtracting it, we're going to take our mirror off X. And I'm just going to carve into, oh, strength is way up there. But instead of that, we'll make it a 5. That big enough? Nah, we'll make it 10. And make it 15. That's a little bit better. So this guy's going to have like a scar right here. There. And remember, when you're messing with the strength and the size of your cursor, it's imperative that you play with different types of things and just different things for editing. All right, there we go. Got that. So now there's this little scar thing. Again, let's smooth it out. Bring this up to 33 and just smooth that out there. There. So now you get the basic idea, and that's just the difference between modeling and sculpting. And if you, again, if you wanted to make teeth, you can make a whole nother object, put it in there for teeth. And we'll talk about rigging and everything after that. So with that being said, let's just show here. So say I was done with this and I wanted to add the modifier. That's when you add the subdivision surfaces after you're done. That's the difference between the two subdivisions. This is more for editing for the subdivision. This is more for post-production. So we'll do 2 and 3 and we'll apply that. That definitely gives it more of a clay weird look. Then we're going to click smooth to smooth it out even more. And from there, I mean, if you hit Shift and Z, it kind of does like a full ray tracing and all that other crap that it usually does. Yeah, it's going to take a little while. 1 frame. It's 1 minute or 1 minute 45 seconds. I'm using a GTX 970. Yeah, see, the light wasn't even doing anything, but you get the idea. And if you hit Z to show all, look at that. Look at all those triangles. That is insane. So you get the idea between the two now. All right. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, any questions? Stick with the Blender groups, and everybody's usually pretty helpful. All right. Enjoy, guys.